Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub and CFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas, the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Indoor Football League, and now the NAL, the National Arena League, which has a game playing right now, the Colorado Spartans and Wheeling Miners. I'm going to keep my video hopefully short, but there's been a wild day of transactions in the NFL as free agency starts firing up full speed. Also, the CFL has a few transactions, and the UFL had a really late announcement involving a flurry of signings by UFL teams, including the San Antonio Brahmas. I'll be writing an article either tonight or tomorrow morning about their newest players, okay? But before I get into that, I'm joined, in addition to me as the host, I'm joined by my co-host, Timmy, the trash-talking Tiger Shark. Well, that's different, isn't it? Timmy is out sick today after the fight with Corky the Crocodile. We're hoping he's going to recover and he can be back. So this is a replacement for Timmy, the trash-talking Tiger Shark. Hope he's okay. All right, so I'm going to get right into the transactions, and we'll go through that as quickly as possible, but not too quickly, you know. So Cleveland Browns have acquired quarterback QB Pickett from the Philadelphia Eagles. They traded for him. They traded Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a fifth-round pick to the Eagles. Pickett was part of the Eagles' run to the Super Bowl. He was their backup quarterback. He played a few games at the end of the season. He's now a Cleveland Brown, which make him probably the starting quarterback, with Deshaun Watson being the backup, or the most expensive backup in the league. The Washington Commanders have also executed a trade with the Houston Texans. They have acquired left tackle Laramie Tunsil, and they also picked up a fourth-round pick in the 2025 draft. What did the Texans get in return? A third-round draft pick and seventh-round draft pick in 2025, a second-round draft pick, fourth-round draft pick in 2026. So that is huge for the Commanders and the Texans. Commanders get a high-quality left tackle, and Houston gets 4 picks for this year and next year. A nice collection of picks going forward to kind of restock their team. Next, Arizona Cardinals. They have reached an agreement with linebacker Josh Sweat, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles last year, helped win the Super Bowl. They have agreed with him, and he'll be executing this contract. Start free agency on Wednesday. It's a 4-year contract for $76.4 million with $41 million guaranteed. Last year he had 2.5 sacks, and he helped during the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs and helped the Eagles get their win in the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks have reached an agreement with quarterback as rumored yesterday. I mentioned yesterday the Seattle Seahawks would be looking at quarterback Sam Darnold after he did not get franchise tagged by the Minnesota Vikings. Today, the Seattle Seahawks have reached an agreement with quarterback Sam Darnold. They picked him up for 3 years, $110.5 million, $55 million guaranteed. That's a nice reward for a great season for Sam Darnold, except for the last 2 games last year in which he collapsed. Chicago Bears have signed defensive tackle Grady Jarrett for a 3-year contract for $43.5 million with $28.5 guaranteed. He was released by the Falcons today. After he had 53 tackles last year in 2024, 9 tackles for loss and 2.5 sacks. The Bears pick him up. They're building up on their offensive defensive line. We'll see if it pays off for them. The Buffalo Bills have signed wide receiver Josh Palmer to a 3-year contract, $36 million, $18 million guaranteed. Last year he had 39 receptions, 284 yards, and a touchdown. He joins Khalil Shakir and wide receiver Keon Coleman, both of which the Buffalo Bills have re-signed coming into the 2025 season. So that should be a loaded wide receiver crew for Josh Allen, who got paid yesterday. The New York Jets have a big signing here. They have signed or come to an agreement to sign. It'll be executed on Wednesday. Quarterback Justin Fields, who played for the Steelers last year. The Steelers were on the fence if they going to keep Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, or they're going to get Aaron Rodgers because he's available. And it was hard to say what they're going to do. Well, it turns out what they're going to do is not have Justin Fields because he got signed by the Jets. 2-year contract, $40 million, and as the max amount of that contract, $30 million guaranteed. We'll see if he does better than Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. New England Patriots, they went through and they have reached an agreement with defensive tackle Milton Williams for $26 million per year for a 4-year contract. $26 million per year, 4-year contract for a defensive tackle. That's pretty good. Let's see if it makes a difference. They need some more weapons. They need more than just a defensive tackle in New England. Okay? All right, next, Cincinnati Bengals. They re-signed defensive line B.J. Hill. Okay? B.J. Hill is receiving a 3-year contract, being re-signed for a 3-year contract for $33 million. $16 million as guaranteed. He has played in 64 games with Cincinnati Bengals, and he's had 16 sacks and 53 quarterback hurries. Okay, so that's pretty good. He's an effective guy. Not as good as Trey Hendrickson, who says he wants to stay with the Bengals. Even though he's asked for the ability to look for a trade, he wants to stay with the Bengals, but for $32 to $35 million per year, which it's going to be hard for the Bengals to, afford Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and now Trey Hendrickson, especially after paying Mike Gesicki $25 million for 3 years as a tight end. Not the best tight end in the league either. I don't know what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing, okay? I'm pretty sure the Bengals don't know what they're doing. Chicago Bears signed center Drew Dolman as a third lineman they picked up in the last 2 weeks. He played for Atlanta in 2024. He's considered to be the best free agent center on the market this year. They scooped him up, okay? They're going to give him a 3-year contract for $42 million, $28 million guaranteed. They're building up the offensive line. Is it too early to do that? They don't have a running back. They need a running back. We'll see what happens. Okay, Tampa Bay Buccaneers have re-signed wide receiver Chris Godwin. He's been a very loyal player for Buccaneers. They signed him to a 3-year contract for $66 million and $45 million guaranteed. Last year he had 50 catches for 576 yards and 5 touchdowns. I'm not sure if I would pay him $22 million per year for 50 catches and 576 yards and 5 touchdowns, but to each their own. Tampa Bay decided to do that. Tampa Bay has also signed edge rusher Hassan Reddick for 1 year, $14 million, $12 million guaranteed. We'll see if that pays off for them. Edge rushers are very valuable in the NFL, though, so nice job. Okay, LA Chargers have signed edge rusher Khalil Mack. He was a big piece. People were waiting to see if domino to fall in free agency. Well, the Chargers have him now. They re-signed him for 1 year for $18 million. Last year he had 6 sacks, 39 tackles. That's not great for $18 million, but he was highly regarded. People think that he's going to be a big-time free agent. No, he's going to stay with the Chargers for $18 million for 1 season. 6 sacks, that's it. I don't know if I would do that. Probably not. As mentioned before, the Falcons released defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. That saved them $16.25 million in salary cap space. So that's good for the Falcons. He's now going to be a Chicago Bear. So we'll see if it pays off for Grady Jarrett to make that move. Arizona Cardinals, they have added several players. They have re-signed offensive guard Evan Brown for 2 years, $11.5 million. That's a good price for a guard. That's about a little under $6 million per year. It's a good price. Offensive line Kelvin Beachman has also reached a 1-year contract with the Cardinals. They're trying to build their lineup too. Minnesota Vikings have extended an offer. They have extended an offer that's been accepted by Colts standout center Ryan Kelly. They've offered him 2 years for $18 million. It will not be official until Wednesday when free agency starts, but they should get Colts standout center Ryan Kelly. He's been a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's been a team captain for them. That's a big loss for the Colts. Big win for the Vikings. All right, the LA Rams. Yesterday they added Devontae Allen as a receiver. Today they have planned to release Cooper Kupp. They have not released him yet, but they plan to release Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua is now the top receiver there, and they added Devontae Adams. So Cooper Kupp's days are over. He's been injury-riddled, so he needs to find somewhere else to play, or maybe he could take it to the house. He'll probably play somewhere else, though, I would presume. Buffalo Bills, as mentioned, they extended wide receiver Khalil Shakir. They added Josh Palmer also, but Shakir gets a 4-year contract extension for $36 million, $18 million guaranteed. They also signed edge rusher Michael Michael Hecht, and that's a 3-year contract up to $24 million if he hits all his incentives. They also signed long snapper Reed Ferguson for a 4-year contract, so that's good for special teams. All right, next, Carolina Panthers have made several moves. They signed defensive end Patrick Jones II for 2 years $20 million. They signed defensive lineman Tershawn Wharton, 3 years for $54 million, $30 million guaranteed. They have signed defensive tackle Bobby Brown III for 3 years, $21 million, up to $27 million if he hits all his incentives. And they re-signed cornerback to J.C. Horn to an extension for 4 years for a ton of money. Okay, got it. So they're really building up their defense in Carolina. We'll see. Defensive line is a good way to build your team and try to bounce back from several bad years. In addition to those players, Carolina Panthers also signed quarterback Mike Jackson and safety Trayvon Morig. Trayvon Morig will receive a 3-year contract, $51 million, and that's guaranteed. And then he can get up to $60 million if he hits his incentives. Boom, excuse me. The Chicago Bears, in addition to picking up J.D. Grant, and in addition to making several moves on their O-line, they have also signed defensive end Dayo Ogdebinigu, 3-year, $48 million. They also have defensive back Tavares Moore. They re-signed him for 1 year. The Cincinnati Bengals, they've added running back Samaje Perine. They gave him a 2-year contract, $3.8 million. He was not a major running back to them. He's a contributor, Joe. They need a primetime running back there. They don't have that right there. After they let Joe Mixon go, they really did do a good job of replacing him. Where are they going to get the money? I don't know. They're running out of money. They're signing all these people. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. The Bengals have no idea. They did sign defensive tackle T.J. Slayton, which will not replace Trey Hendrickson, but it will replace Sam Hubbard, I guess. They'll give him a chance. He's got a 2-year contract, $15 million. They let go of a linebacker, Akeem. He's later in the announcement, but they signed linebacker Oren Burks for 2 years, 5 years, 2 years for $5 million. 2 years for $5 million. We'll see how that goes. Dallas Cowboys, they have signed running back Javonte Williams for 1 year, $3 million. If he hits his incentives, he gets $3.5 million. He's going to be a backup if he doesn't get cut. Okay. They signed a long snapper, Trent Sieg, to an extension. The Denver Broncos are talking to tight end Evan Ingram, who played for the Jaguars. They're talking to him. He came in for a free agent visit. We'll see if that becomes something in the next couple of days. They have signed offensive tackle Matt Pert for 2 years for $7 million. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw for 3 years, $35 million. Safety Talanoa Hufanga for $20 million guaranteed. His contract's for 3 years, $45 million, but he gets $20 million guaranteed up front. That's nice. Okay, Detroit Lions have signed linebacker Zeke Turner, and cornerback DJ Reed is also signed with the Lions. They're trying to keep that thing together to give them another chance to run to the Super Bowl, even though they've lost a lot of coaches and also a few players. So the Green Bay Packers, they have signed offensive guard Aaron Burks for a 4-year contract for $77 million. That's a nice contract for a guard. That's probably not a good price as the other guy. I wouldn't have paid that much for a guard, but they did. Cornerback Nate Hobbs has signed with the Packers for 4 years, $48 million. You know what? Let the Packers make as many bad deals as they want. I'm happy to see them lose. Good job, Packers. Okay. Houston Texans have signed wide receiver Braxton Berrios to a 1-year contract for $2 million. They have signed wide receiver Justin Watson. They have signed defensive end Derek Barnett for 1 year, $5 million. Defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins is signed for 1 year for $7 million. And defensive back Traymon Smith has signed for 2 years, $7.5 million. All good role players. Not a big deal in my mind, though. Okay? Indianapolis Colts. They have signed cornerback Shavarius Ward for 3 years, $60 million, $35 million guaranteed. He gets a $20 million signing bonus. It'll probably be a good playmaker for him, although they just lost their center. I think their offense is going to implode. Safety Cameron Bynum gets a 4-year contract for $60 million from the Colts. Once again, they're building up their secondary. Okay, how are you going to score points? I think the problem last year is they didn't score enough points. They got to figure that out. Before too long. Okay. Jacksonville Jaguars have signed quarterback Nick Mullins. He'll be a backup for them. He's on a 2-year contract for $3 million. They signed wide receiver Diami Brown, 1 year for $10 million. They signed tight end Hunter Long for 2 years, $5 million. And they signed tight end Johnny Mundit, okay, for 2 years, $5.5 million. They also, they signed a center, Robert Hainsey, for 3 years, $21 million, $13 million is guaranteed. They needed a center. Safety Eric Murray has signed with the Jaguars for 3 years for $22.5 million, $12 million, that's guaranteed. They need defense. They need everything in Jacksonville. Things are not going well in Jacksonville. Okay, but they got a new coach, got a new GM. They're trying to make it work. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs have signed running back Elijah Mitchell and offensive tackle Jalen Moore for 2 years to $30 million for Jalen Moore. That's going to replace probably Thuney, who they traded to the Bears. He played left tackle for last year. He's also a guard, but they got a tackle who could probably step at left tackle, Jalen Moore. Las Vegas Raiders have signed defensive end Malcolm Kuntz. He's been re-signed for 1 year for $12 million. And they have signed safety Jeremy Chin for 2 years, $16 million. Good job, Raiders. They're making some moves. We'll see what happens with that. The LA Chargers have also signed defensive lineman Tierra Tart to an extension, cornerback Dante Jackson to a 2-year contract for $13 million, and punter J.K. Scott for 2 years for $6 million. That's an expensive punter, I think. Okay. LA Rams have re-signed quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a backup quarterback for them. They're signed to a 1-year contract for $4.505 million. But if he hits incentives, it could be $9 million. That depends on what they do with Matt Stafford. They signed him, so he's probably going to be a starter. But he may get hurt, so we'll see what happens there. Garoppolo is definitely going to be a backup. He probably will not hit that $9 million. He will not play enough to hit $9 million. Miami Dolphins quarterback Zach Wilson has been acquired for a year. That guy was a disaster to the Jets, but he's going to a disaster to the Dolphins. That's fine with me. Go Bills. Dolphins can be flushed. That'd be great. All right, Minnesota Vikings. They signed safety Bubba Bolden, formerly of the San Antonio Brahmas. Horns forward, San Antonio Brahmas. Punter Ryan Wright has been signed by them, and they're having defensive tackle Jonathan Allen visit them. Remember, Washington Commanders released him. They were looking for a trade partner. They couldn't get one. They released him. So the Vikings might get him for real cheap. Although there's probably a reason why he's so cheap. If you think about it, discounts are not always the best thing in the NFL. Okay. New England Patriots re-signed backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs for a 2-year contract for $8 million and $3.8 that's guaranteed. They re-signed wide receiver Mac Hollum for 2 years, $8.4 million, and he could get incentives up to $10.4 million if he can step up. The Patriots need a lot of help. They need to do a little step up. They signed offensive tackle Morgan Moses for 3 years. 3 years for $24 million. If he hits incentives, he could be at $28.5. He might be hurt all season. I could see that happening for the Patriots. Hopefully, no offense to Morgan Moses. Not wishing any bad on him. Defensive tackle Kairos Tonga. He gets a 1-year contract for $2.7 with the Patriots. Got it. They've also signed linebacker Robert Spillane. Did not say the terms of the agreement. The cornerback Carlton Davis is signed a 3-year contract for $60 million with the Patriots, and they have traded defensive tackle Yvonne Godcham to the New Orleans Saints for a 7th-round draft pick. That's it's not a lot of value. Goodbye. All right, next, the New York Giants have signed wide receiver Darius Slayton to a 3-year contract for $26 million. That's good deal for him. He's going to make some money. Defensive tackle Roy Robertson Harry? I don't know. 2-year, $9 million. He can work up to $10 million. Cornerback Paulson Adebo, 3-year contract, $15 million per year he can get the $36 million guaranteed. So they have a cornerback, they have a receiver. Darius Slayton may be a good player for them. We'll see what happens next. Okay, Roy Robertson probably just an afterthought, but you never know. He's a defensive tackle. They're building up on the line. That's good. New York Jets, they signed Justin Fields. I mentioned that already. 2 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed. They get him from the Steelers. At least puts the Steelers in a tough spot. They got a lot of receivers, but now who's their quarterback going to be? Russell Wilson, I guess. Quarterback Brandon Stevens signed a 3-year contract, $36 million with the Jets. And safety Tony Adams has been tendered, so he's going to get a deal. It's unclear what it is so far. We'll find out probably on Wednesday. Pittsburgh Steelers have signed quarterback Darius Slay. Last week he was released by the Eagles. Reportedly, he's still not been released by the Eagles, but he's talking to the Steelers. Eagles said they're going to release him. He's not released yet. He's talking to the Steelers. I'm sure he's going to be a Steeler. It's hard to say. They're playing some game here. Okay? The Steelers did cut defensive lineman Larry Ogunjobi. Okay? Running back Jalen Warren. Okay? They went through and tendered him a second-round restricted free agent contract for $5.46 million. That means they'll act on that on Wednesday. And they also found center Ryan McCollum, and they've signed him to a 1-year contract. And linebacker Malik Harrison got a 2-year contract for $10 million to play for the Steelers. We'll see if those guys pan out, or maybe those two people we mentioned one time. San Francisco 49ers have signed running back Patrick Taylor for 1 year extension. He's a good backup guy behind Christian McCaffrey. And Christian McCaffrey's hurt all the time, so maybe he'll get a lot of reps. Tight end Luke Farrell is signed with the 49ers for 3 years for $20.25 million, $11 million guaranteed. I guess that's a good investment. It's better than what the Bengals have been doing. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have, I mentioned Chris Godwin already, 3 years, $66 million. But they've also added offensive lineman Ben Bredeson for 3 years for $22 million. And it's always going to get more linemen. You can never have too many linemen in the NFL. Tennessee Titans have the most inexplicable contract deal. Left tackle Dan Moore, who allowed 12 sacks last year, has found a way to negotiate his way to a 4-year contract for $82 million. Yeah, that's a lot of money for a guy who gave up 12 sacks last year. Their protection was horrible, but he gets to keep going at left tackle. $50 million is guaranteed. Year 1, he'll make $30 million straight up. That's a great contract for a guy who really isn't blocking anyone. The Titans are not looking out for. They're probably not going to draft a quarterback because they're going to let, Will Levis get hurt. A-plus. All right. Okay, mayonnaise. Got it. Offensive line, Andrew Puppich is also signed with the Titans. Defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph Day has also signed with the Titans for 1 year for $7.5 million. Linebacker Cody Barton has signed a 3-year contract for $21 million. Cornerback Darrell Baker Jr. has signed with the Titans. Long snapper Morgan Cox has resigned with the Titans. You need long snappers in the league. You don't think about it until you need it. Like the Bengals 1 year, they lost to the Steelers because they didn't have a long snapper that could snap very well. And you don't think about it until it's too late. Washington Commanders, they have signed defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw for 3 years for $45 million. That's a nice addition to their defensive line. They've also signed wide receiver Michael Gallup. Well, they haven't signed him yet. They're going to sign him. He's going to visit on Tuesday. If things go well, they'll sign him. That's a rumor. We'll see what happens. I'm not saying he's signed with the Washington Commanders. I'm saying that they're looking at him, and they'll add another good receiver to their group. Okay. Arizona Cardinals, I mentioned that the Bengals had let go of linebacker Akeem Davis-Gaither, and he got signed by the Cardinals for a 2-year deal worth $11 million. Yeah, so he played for 4 seasons with the Bengals. Last year had 82 tackles, 1 interception, 4 passes defended. That's pretty good. They let him go. He was going to be a backup. They let him go. That's probably a good call. They can draft a linebacker. He's in a 2-year deal with the Cardinals for $11 million. It's a nice move by him. As I mentioned, Cincinnati Bengals, the last thing there, defensive end Trey Hendrickson wants to stay in Cincinnati if he can, but he's only going to stay if he gets $32 to $35 million per year, which is a huge price. Right now, I have Tyler the Tiger to talk about the Trey Hendrickson situation and the Bengals. I really think they need to think about what they're doing. You're going to have to re-sign Jamar Chase. We tag T. Higgins, and if we don't trade him for picks, then I guess we're going to have to pay him too. We already said we're going to pay him. We shouldn't lie. That'd be bad. So I don't know if we can pay Trey Hendrickson. I look for value. He's way more important than T. Higgins. We probably should just pay him and let Higgins walk. But we don't. Maybe the Patriots will offer us a trade. They need a wide receiver. Come get T. Higgins, New England Patriots. Come get T. Higgins. And then we can sign Trey Hendrickson. Yay! Thank you, Tyler, for jumping in there. All right. Got it. Okay. See, that's it for the NFL signings. I mentioned there's a lot of them, and we got to that quickly so we can go. I can go watch the NAL game. Colorado Spartans versus Willie Miners is in the second half. I'm not sure what the score is. I've been making the video. Also, I'm going to write an article tonight about some new signings from San Antonio Brahmas. I may not write it tonight. I might write it tomorrow morning. But watch out for that on the UFL News Hub and my Substack. Boom. CFL, Calgary Stampeders made some announcements this morning. We mentioned yesterday they have signed American quarterback Josh Love, who played for the Memphis Showboats in the UFL. But they also signed American quarterback Joey Gatewood. And American offensive line Eric Smith has retired from the Stampeders. One correction, 3 Down Nation had reported that Brandon Alexander, the defensive back for Winnipeg Blue Bombers, have retired. He just decided to leave the Blue Bombers after 8 years. He said he's not retiring. He's looking for a new place to be. Hopefully, Alan Tiger got signing. He's a pretty good player. He said he's not retiring, so that's a correction from yesterday. 3 Down Nation had made a mistake. They said he's going to retire, but he's not going to retire. He said, hey, I'm still playing, y'all. I'm just going to find somewhere else to play. Got it? Okay. Last but not least, recently announced, right before this video, the Arlington Renegades are releasing offensive guard Grant Smith, and they are signing center Bryson Mays. If you have Bryson Mays sounds familiar. He was released by the Brahmas yesterday, and now he's picked up. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the video yesterday. It's hard to remember yesterday, but I did write an article about that, UFL News Hub. Check it out. I wrote about who they released at the end of the first week of training camp and who they signed. That's on UFL News Hub. I mentioned Bryson Mays. Okay, Birmingham Stallions have released offensive tackle Ilm Manning, and they have signed offensive guard Grant Miller, so they're moving some offensive line around during training camp. We'll see. Hopefully it does not pay off for them. Boo Stallions, okay? All right, DC Defenders have signed center Johari Brand. They need the offensive line. They like to run the ball, and they like RPOs, and having a good center would help with that. Houston Roughnecks signed cornerback Corn Elder, and Memphis Showboats signed quarterback Dresser Wynn. Hope he does not win. He can just be a dresser that holds clothes. Boom. Last but not least, San Antonio Brahmas. They just recently announced, I'm going to write an article about this on the UFL News Hub. They have signed wide receiver Isaiah Gathings, and he played at Middle Tennessee State. And they have signed offensive tackle Vitaly Gurman. He played at Toledo. I will have a full breakdown of those players and what they provide to the San Antonio Brahmas and an article on UFL News Hub either tonight or tomorrow morning. So check that out on UFL News Hub. Check out my article, okay? Let's read and take care of the UFL News Hub. That's it for tonight. We didn't have enough funny parts tonight because, like I said, rushing through this quickly because there's a ton of signings. And it's hard to say exactly how important they will be. So I just want to get through those, make you aware of what's happening. It's going to be a busy week of free agency for the NFL. UFL's in training camp. CFL is getting ready for the draft, CFL draft. So we'll see. Everything's in flux right now. NAL is playing currently. I'll go through my NAL results based on my predictions on the first week of games. I did lose one, I'm sure of. But we'll see how that goes, and we'll talk about more football tomorrow on Football Scientific, and we may fill in some time with scientific stuff if we don't have a swarm of NFL signings and free agency, but we probably will. So say goodnight, Tyler. Good night, Tyler. And good night to you. It may be morning time, it may be daytime, it might be middle of the afternoon. It doesn't matter, but it's nighttime for me right now, and I'm getting ready to sign off on Football Scientific. Check out my articles on UFL News Hub, CFL News Hub, and Substack. Football Scientific on Substack. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. This isn't the best of my videos, but it is a video, and it was a lot of NFL signings and also some other things that happened, okay? So thanks for joining us. Timmy should return. He's out sick. Okay? So hopefully he comes back. This is a bad sign, though. Okay? So have a good day, and thanks for joining us for Football Scientific today.